Oh, oh, wow. Good morning, everybody. Well, we're up underneath the oak trees again. It's a beautiful morning. The sun is shining, it's blue sky, and so much has happened. And I'll try and share over the next few weeks lots of things happening at the moment. And we need your prayer. We need your prayer. The church needs your prayer right now. I just want to put this video up because this is something bizarre, quite bizarre, has just happened in the last few days. So Sabrina got hold of me. Sabrina is Caesar's wife. Caesar's the guy that occasionally preaches and got a lovely singing voice. Many of you have commented on how much you love him to minister and whatnot. He's a reluctant preacher, Caesar is, very reluctant preacher. But his wife Sabrina has this kind of like food van that she cooks cakes and stuff in, and she says, I've met this guy that I'd like you to meet, and he's a very interesting guy. And she said he's the head of a Scottish clan. You know, as soon as she said he's the head of a Scottish clan, I don't know why, but I just thought, he's not Scottish, but he's the head of a Scottish clan. Well, you know what I mean, he's not living in Scotland. I just thought, okay, head of Scottish clan. And Sabrina's going on, she's talking about, he's a very interesting guy. He used to go to church at one time. He's not religious. I think he just went in and observed it and it wasn't for him and so on. And she said this is Sabrina's words, he's made a machine that is really good for the repair of broken bones. Anyway, the way that Sabrina described this man was so unusual that I thought he sounds a little bit wacko. So I said, well, get him to give me a ring. I'd like to have a chat with him. And anyway, this guy did ring. His name's David. And he phoned me while I was just about to turn the ignition and just about to go off in the car. So I said to him, thanks for phoning, but I'm really busy at the moment. Can I phone you back? And I completely forgot to phone him back. It was about 2 weeks, and Sabrina Caesar got hold of me and said, you know, Sabrina's a bit miffed that you've not got back to this man. Honestly, I forgot, and because I thought, well, who can be the head of a Scottish clan that's English, and oh dear. And there's so many things going on at the moment, and so many people have given me advice as to what to do with this leg that I don't know. I forgot really. So I said to Sabrina, I'm so sorry, Sabrina. I'll get hold of him. So I got hold of him and apologised that I didn't get back to him, and got chatting with him. And you know, within the space of probably 10 minutes, I realised that this guy was not a wacko. He was an incredibly intelligent man who is, I don't know how it works with the Scottish clans, but yeah, he is the head of a Scottish clan, and he for many years, he worked alongside orthopedic surgeons with kind of alternative ways of healing bones when they fail to heal through plating and so on. Now, I don't want to go on about my operation and how I came out, but it wasn't a particularly pleasant experience, shall we just say that. When I went in to have my tumour done, the experience of that was first rate. Everything was amazing. This was probably the opposite. So I came out, and I knew, to be honest, that things weren't aligned up right in my leg and all this. So suddenly to have somebody come on the scene that's, you realise they're not a wacko, they're highly intelligent, they've worked alongside surgeons for many years, and this guy has invented a machine that he's sold this machine to a company that what it does is it sends electromagnetic pulses into your bones to induce a current to knit your bones together better. It doesn't speed it up, but it knits them together stronger. Anyway, as I got talking to him on the phone, I thought, okay, this guy, this guy is super intelligent. And so I thought, well, if he's not a Christian, and he's not interested in Christianity at all, then what's the catch? And I was thinking, what's the catch? There's got to be a catch. And I thought, well, maybe the catch will be that he wants to lend me this machine or hire me this machine, and it's going to cost X amount of money per week, per month, or whatever. Anyway, I thought, well, there's no harm in meeting up with him. So he came round yesterday. Now, I have a major fear in my life. I have a few, but this one is a major fear. And my major fear is flying. It's one of them. I hate flying so much. People will give you, just, it's the safest, all these things. I hate flying. Jess, come here. Don't do that. Don't do that. Every time somebody comes past, she has a bark that's a friendly bark and a bark that's not so friendly. All right, babe. So, my tickets came through yesterday to go to America, and although when I was asked if I'd like to go and preach in America, all my life I've wanted to go to America. I've explained this many times. My granddad is an American soldier in the war. His name was Woodrow Schreckengost. We've got family in Pennsylvania that we've never seen, ever. None of us have ever seen. We spoke to him on Facebook, but that's about it. Yeah, it's been something that all my life I've wanted to go. And when the tickets came through, and I realised that to get to America you've got to fly, I just got this horrible dread that I always get with flying. So, the same day, this guy who works with orthopaedic surgeons turns up. This was yesterday. He turns up. And he's brought this machine with him, which he's going to tweak it with one or two things. And he says you should even be able to take it to America with you, and you'll be able to use it on your. There's different settings for different things, and I have a problem in my hip now that I've never had in my life. I've got problems in my hip, and then there's all sorts of problems still there. But there is improvements, thank God. There is improvements, but my leg's set wrong as well. So to have somebody turn up that's got the time, because doctors haven't got the time, surgeons haven't got the time. None of them have got the time. So to have somebody turn up and actually have the time is highly unusual, to say the least. But yeah, we were talking away, but I realised that this guy was, I suppose, a genius. Not just in the sphere of those things, but in astronomy. He knows a lot about astronomy, an awful lot. Him and his wife, both, they write courses for universities and so on and so forth, and very calm sort of a fella. I'm sitting here in these chairs like this, chatting with him, and then he just turns to me and he says, "Do you want to come flying with me tomorrow?" Well, I hate flying. I hate flying. But I'd had the flight tickets through. I thought, how bizarre is that? Because as soon as I saw the flight tickets through from America, I just got this dread. This just dread. And somebody comes and sees me the same day to come and see me about this leg and asks me if I want to go flying with him. And he says, "You don't worry, you don't have to say yes," and all this, you know, just, it's all very relaxed. I said, can I tell you by 7 o'clock tonight? I need to pray about it. Because I've always said to Mandy, I will never fly unless it's for the gospel, because I'm terrified of flying. At one time, I wouldn't even fly for the gospel. Anyway, Mandy comes back from teaching. I tell her, she says, "What are you going to do?" So I said, I don't know. And I did something which I'm ashamed to say, really, but I try to be as honest as possible. You know, sometimes, by the way, being honest doesn't pay off. I'll tell you that for free. Being honest doesn't pay off because people don't believe you. But I asked the Lord, am I supposed to go flying with this man? Like, you know, I'm terrified of flying. And I need to know. Because he wants to know if I'll go flying with him tomorrow, which is this morning. So I did what you're not supposed to do. I flung open the Bible. And it landed in the Gospel of Luke, and I looked down and it landed exactly on the point where Jesus talks about the shepherd that leaves the 99 and goes looking for the one lost sheep. And I know enough about this man that he went to church. It did absolutely nothing for him at all. He says he found the people lovely. He says it wasn't a problem, it wasn't the people. He says he just did nothing for him. And as soon as I saw that verse, I thought, okay, Lord, that could have been a total fluke. That could have been a total fluke. And I've spent like the last 20 years telling people not to do that. But I looked and it just reminded me, that's what we're here for. You know, you've heard this said many a time. The church is not a keeper of aquariums. We're supposed to be fishers of men. I've said it many times, and probably you have too. And I thought, yeah, why not? Why not? Why not go with this man? I know there'll be an opportunity to talk about the gospel at some point. So just to recap, yesterday the flight tickets came through from America, and on the same day I was asked to go flying in a very small plane with a man I hardly know. I mean, hardly know at all. So I'm going to do it. And I'd like to talk about this a lot more at some point. But you know something, friends? For many of you, you wonder what all the fuss is about, you know. But for me, it's a big thing. I don't like flying. For me, it's the equivalent of getting out of the boat and walking towards Jesus on water. That's how big it is. It's a biggie. so I'm going to go flying with this guy called David, who works with orthopedic surgeons with alternative ways of mending legs, that just so happened to say to me on the day the flight tickets came through, would you like to go flying with me? And I'm dreading it. I'm dreading it. I think people think that people, I'm talking in a bigger sense now, that people that step out in faith are reckless because they've got no fear. And for some people it might be that way. That they're reckless because they don't have any fear. But I'm not like that. When I think of Timothy in the Bible, and Paul said to him, God has not given to you a spirit of fear, Timothy, but power and love and of sound mind. I can totally get that verse. It resonates with me massively, because I'm a fearful person that without the Spirit of God and without the Word of God, I'm paralyzed. But I would love to finish this race better than I started. And is that you? Are you like that? Would you love to finish this race in this life better than you started it? It might mean that people misunderstand you and even say nasty things about you, and it might be that it causes even more problems, not less problems, but even more problems. But wouldn't you like to finish this life pleasing the Lord in a way that maybe you haven't done in a long time? Anyway, I'm going to go flying with this guy, God willing. He said to me, I promise you, even as we're going down the runway, if you say to me stop, I will stop. He says, but there is a point where you cross the Rubicon and there's no going back. All right, Jessie. All right, girl. And they just so happen to have a collie dog. They absolutely adore Jess. So that's it, folks. That's it. We're going to go flying. Okay, so this is David and Marjorie. And here we are at Slape Airfield, is it?
Yes.
Slape Airfield. And David's just telling me that this is where they practiced the landings for D-Day with the gliders. Those gliders that they flew in. Oh, I tell you what. It's this world. This crazy life. Yeah, so the guy that owns that used to fly the Nimrod. Those of you that know the Nimrod jet. No. This is their hangar. Okay, so this is the plane. That pulls well, doesn't it? Pushes well. Here we go, folks. Wow. Isabel, okay. Well. Here we go again. Here we go again. Nice looking plane. Just to give you some context, this is David, who's works with orthopedic surgeons to help with broken bones and things, along with other things. What a pretty place, folks. What a pretty place. Oh. Had an amazing conversation on the way down about the things that are going on in the world. Amazing. Okay, folks, well, this is it, isn't it? This is it. Conquering fears. For God has not given to me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Wow. Okay. Crumbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. Okay.
Well,
I'm not trying to think too much about it.
You'll be all right.
Clear my mind.
Beautiful airplane. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's nice. Looks well. Yeah. Looks well kept.
Yep. Named after our granddaughter.
Oh.
We bought it just as she was born.
Right.
19 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
How lovely.
Don't forget, you get in the car
Yes.
and just drive without checking.
Yeah, that's
This
right.
has to have various checks
Yeah.
done before you can take off.
Oh, absolutely.
It has a service every 50 hours.
Yes.
And it have a service every year.
Right.
Regardless, yeah.
Yeah,
Regardless of how much you've done.
Yeah.
Even if you've hardly flown.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this reminds me of South Africa with Bruce Lawrence. Waiting to go. Well, we didn't even know where we were going because they wouldn't tell us. It was a surprise. And it ended up being a safari. I tell you what. The Lord is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, yeah, if you fancy buying a plane, folks, there's a guy selling one for £28,000, cheaper than an electric car. So that's where you get the fuel from. So that's the plane I'm going up in, right over there by the hangar.
This is your altimeter as well. It's the same.
Okay.
It's a repeater of this one.
Is it in feet? Yeah, that's in
Yeah, it's
feet.
in feet. So they're always in feet in aviation. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Everything's all right.
I understand feet.
Yeah.
I understand meters.
Yeah. So we always put the keys on the top there when we're stationary
Yeah.
to show anybody that it's not live, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's nasty things, propellers if they're spinning. So switch on. That's the power on.
Yeah.
The mixture is full rich. We have to do some mixture. We use about that on there, and it's been started already, so it should just start the first time. I'll put my headset on.
There's this.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep.
And the switch is on.
Anyway.
Okay, switches are on.
Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so keep it as close to your mouth as you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Right, and
Okay.
we're clear to start. Everything's working all right there. Let's just check that setting there. It's on south to the right, to the left, so that's going to be south to the right. That's it. So that's synchronised with that one there.
Okay.
Okay. So we can start the engine.
Thank you, Lord.
Clear.
Wow. Well, having taken control of it for just a lot longer than I thought I was going to, you realise how super sensitive the controls are on these things. You've literally only got to dab it one way or the other, or dab it up and down, or it's so sensitive. And then you've got the throttle. There's a lot to think about. So you know, people that do this and pass all the examinations and that, you've really got to know what you're doing to fly one of these. So I know Keith's got his license, or had his license. All credit to you, Keith. Not easy to do. I couldn't believe how sensitive it was. Anyway, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for a completely unexpected surprise. Unexpected. So, just to say, folks, this was used by the RAF to train the wooden gliders for D-Day. This control tower there, I think it was a Lancaster bomber, came in, had a bad landing and actually smashed into that, and some people actually died in training. But this is what it's all about, folks. Look at the old hangar there. I mean, that hangar's, you can tell that's a hangar from that period of time. Well, that was just incredible, to be honest. It was incredible. I mean, I was trying to think what mountain we were flying close to, and it was Caida Idris. We were over almost by Barmouth, and you got Snowdonia in the distance. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, perfect day. And yeah, it did help. It did help. I mean, this guy knew nothing about me going to America or being frightened of planes or nothing, absolutely nothing. He just randomly asked me, do you want to go up in a plane with me? On the same day that we got the tickets. So there we go, folks. Yeah. Amazing. Truly amazing. So I'm going to go and thank them. Well, thank you very much, Marjorie. Thank you very much, David. That was totally unexpected. So how many lost their lives? All those on there?
He was the glider pilot.
Oh, he was the glider pilot, right.
Yeah. They had a memorial for him.
Right.
Yeah. These were still in the tower and in the aircraft that crashed into the tower.
Right.
Yeah. So there were two.
Oh, that was a
crashes into
tragedy,
the tower.
them on it. What a massive tragedy.
There were two crashes into the
1943. Yes.
And just less than a month later, there was another crash. An actual, although Vera Hughes is buried on the just off a church, just off the M62 on the way to Liverpool.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to go and visit her grave. I think I'd like it.
Wow.
2020.
Incredible, incredible.
Kathleen was 22.
It's amazing how young they were, isn't it?
Yeah.
Must have been absolutely terrifying going over enemy territory.
That's where the restaurant is now.
Yes.
The building in the restaurant.
Right.
People say
Okay.
it's ghost haunted, but we've never met them.
No.
We've been here late at night. And these ghost hunters come because they reckon that some of the wrecks in there,
Yeah.
the ghosts of the pilots are
Okay.
on the wrecks, which is
Well, folks, that's another little step away from my terrible fear of flying, which I've had now for 35 years. I was 21 when I went up in a plane. The left engine packed up and we had to make an emergency landing, and from the age of 21 I have been absolutely terrified of flying. I remember when we went to Poland with the church, and people are used to me in church talking a lot, and I could see people in the church thinking, never known Tim so quiet. That's because I have a genuine fear of flying. And yesterday was another step away from that fear. Fears are horrible things, aren't they? Because they stop us from doing things that we want to do and maybe even we're called to do. There's this horrible lurking shadow behind us that puts its hand on our shoulder and says, you can't do that because you're frightened of doing that. And I think all of us have fears. All of us do. You know, when you look at Peter and he says, Lord, bid me to come to you. And Jesus says, come to me. And he gets out of the boat and he takes his eyes off Jesus. He sees the waves and he starts to sink. And I always think about the other disciples at that point. You know, would they have laughed at him? Would they have secretly had a little bit of a gossip about Peter? And, you know, probably. I think they probably would have. And he cries out, Lord, help me. And Jesus pulls him out and says, you have little faith. But it's funny, he says that Peter had got little faith, but Peter had got a lot more faith than the folk that didn't get out of the boat. And very often in life, we can remain in the boat because fear is constantly telling us, you can't do that because. How many times in the Bible does the Bible say, do not fear? And yet we do. We do. And I don't want to finish off my life being bound by fear. You know, I would love to finish off this life moving forward in faith and not in fear. And I'm sure you're just the same. And I would like to put together at some point in the next few months something on fear and faith. It's simple, but it needs pointing out because we all struggle in that area. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I had a lovely time with David. I did manage to tell him, testify to him about the power of God in testimony and also the power of prophecy. And he did listen, actually. But I will be having a lot more talks with him. I know he's an interesting man. Probably the most knowledgeable man I've ever spoke to in my life. Amazing. God has amazing things. Some things happen to us and they're tragic, they're terrible and they're awful. And other things that happen to us, they are wonderful. There's a song by Bob Dylan on the album Saved, and it's Well I'm Pressing On. It's well I'm pressing on. Well I'm pressing on. Well I'm pressing on to the higher calling of the Lord. Many try to stop me, shake me up in my mind, say prove to me that he's Lord, show me a sign. What kind of sign they need when it all comes from within? When what's lost has been found, what's to come has already been. I just keep pressing on. And then the choir goes, pressing on. Well, I'm pressing on to the higher calling of the Lord. Yes, praise the Lord. We can press on. And the Apostle Paul says, not looking back, because we've all got fears and failures and things that we've done. The more you live, the more regret you have. The more you live, the more mistakes you've done. The more you live, the more time you spend thinking, oh, I wish I could go back and redo what was done there. But the Apostle Paul says, keep on pressing on. Keep on moving forwards. And even if pressing on is going into a valley, then it's still pressing on, friends. You know, Joseph thought that he was going to be lifted to this place of exaltation, and he ended up in a pit. But the Lord was with him. The Lord was with him. The Lord was with him when he was sold into slavery. The Lord was with him in Potiphar's house. The Lord was with him in prison. And eventually the Lord was with him when he was before Pharaoh. We've just got to keep pressing on. we're going into Babylon, but the Lord was with Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. He says, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you, even until the end of the age. It might feel at times like he's left us and we feel forsaken. You can feel that, but the Bible says that has not happened. It can't happen. He is always with us. We just need to keep pressing on. We're going to make mistakes, friends. We're going to have lapses and moments of fear rather than faith, but we must keep on pressing on. And if in this Christian life it's 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, and sometimes maybe 2 steps forward and three steps back, sometimes it's like that. We just keep on getting up and going again, getting up and going again, forgiving people, being forgiven, getting up and going again. And remember, in all this, there are billions of people that are lost, that need to hear the glorious truths of the gospel. And every single one of us are called to be witnesses, every single one of us, so we can step out every day of our life and in some way witness something about the glory of God to our unsaved friends. Okay, guys, have a great day.